Hello, and welcome to this crochet tutorial on how to make this seashell crocheted bag. The bag measures approximately 11 inches across and approximately 14 inches from bottom to top. Large enough to fit all your personal belongings as if it was a regular handbag. Our opening up here is large enough to fit a good sized wallet as well as a cell phone. So come join me and let's make this the Sea Shell handbag together. The materials and the tools that we will be using to make this crocheted shell handbag, first we have here from Loops and Thread, Charisma yarn. The color is called Passion. The hook that we will be using is an L 8.0 millimeter. We have a large eye tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. The strap that I will be using on my bag is from a belt that has braid in it. I really like it, and I think it goes well with the coloring. And I will be attaching it down in this area here. So I'll have a little hang off. This will be exciting. Let's get started again. Before we begin, I like to encourage you to pull out an ample amount of yarn so that you will not have any problems with your tension as we do our project. To begin, we're going to start with a magic circle, but first we need a tail of about 6 inches. Take it and wrap it around your fingers until you have like an X. Take your hook, go under the lower loop, pull up the working yarn, and complete a chain stitch. Unwrap the tail around your circle, and then take that chain and tighten it onto your magic circle. Then chain 1. Onto our magic circle, we're going to place a single crochet. So you yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2 loops. I'm going to add 5 more. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so at the end, take your finger and thumb and pinch the last couple of stitches. With your other hand, take the tail, pull it snug, and then drop your tail behind you. Now I'm going to bring this up close. That first chain that we did is not a stitch, okay? We're going to go in between underneath it, but we're not going to place a stitch on it. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to do what is called a back post half double crochet, but we're not going to go on the stitch per se. If you notice in the stitch, it has the 2 little, that chain, that loop that comes out from the top, like right here. There's these 2 loops right here, and we're going to pick up those 2 loops there because we want the chain to be seen. We want this to be a real close chain. So let me show you how that's done. So yarn over and then go underneath that chain. Now this is the only part it'll be hard, is because of that first chain. Okay, and then go across, and you'll see right here we have the 2 from that stitch. So pull the yarn through. We now have 3 loops on our hook and complete our half double crochet. Now we're going to go back into the same spot and make another back post half double crochet. So we're going to go under that chain, and under that next chain, just like we did before, pull up a loop. Okay, so we've completed 2 half double crochets so far. Now we're going to move on to our next stitch, which is right here. So yarn over. Now we're going to take our hook and go under that chain. We're going to go over that stitch, through to the other chain to the back. I'm going to go through both of those there. Yarn over and through all 3 loops. Right? So one more time. We're doing 2 per stitch because of the curvature. Alright, so we have 4 half double crochets done so far. We need a total of 12 because we're doing 2 per single crochet of that first of what we started. So yarn over. Now you see the back part of this chain stitch right here, and the next one, and the stitch right in the middle. We're going to go behind, go over. See, we're just picking up that little section. I think some of you are already ahead of me. Okay. All right, so I have 2, 4, 6. We need to do 6 more. I'm right here with you, so you can watch me as I do this. As you can see, we have the chain here and a chain here. Okay, so that's 8. You'll notice as you get further along, the stitching gets a lot easier because it's looser. Okay, and I got 2 more. See, I can see my last single crochet. So here's 1 and 2. All right, and this is what we have. You can see where our spiral is starting to form already. Okay, so after we've completed 12 back post half double crochets, we're now going to do 16 sets of back post double crochets. So yarn over, we're going to go in between. So each one of these stitches gets 2 back post double crochets. Okay, and you notice when I did the second one, I did it basically in front of the first one that we did. Okay, let me show you again. So we're going to go behind. Just double crochet, and then we're going to just go on top of the other one. Okay, so keep going around until you have a total of 16 double crochet sets. And in order to count, I'll show you when we get here. We'll count backwards because you can tell the difference between the half double crochet and the double crochet. So continue on, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. So at the end, you will have 16 sets of double crochet. Your stitching, if you start counting from right here, will give you 30 stitches up to here. So the next thing we're going to do is with a tail, go ahead and cut that and pull it through. Okay, then we'll take our yarn needle and weave in to close the hole for our magic circle, and then we can cut our yarn. So what I like to do is where the yarn is coming out, go around one more time. Trying to go through the center of the stitching here. And you can see how it helps close it. You may ask how come we didn't double the circle at first. Well, because sometimes in the past I've experienced pulling the wrong one, or it was complicated. It didn't want to do what it was supposed to do. So we're gonna go ahead and pull it through here, and then to go backwards to weave it in, go over your first one and go through a couple of stitches. Okay, and then we can go ahead and cut it. Let's get ready to start our second circle, and it's not a back post. So to make our second circle, we're going to do the same thing. Start off with a magic circle and place the first chain a little tight onto that magic circle, and then chain 1. Okay, and into that magic circle, 6 single crochets. I love the colors of this yarn. It's very nautical. Okay, so let's tighten our magic circle. Now, if you remember on our other circle we did back post. Well, this time we're going to do front posts. So yarn over, we're going to go in between that chain. Now remember that first one is going to be a little tight. Whoops. So at least you know not everything is perfect. Okay, so we're going to go here, and then we're going to go over like this. So now our one loop is right here in the front. We're going to draw up a loop and then go through all 3. And then we're going to go through that same space again. And I know you're thinking, oh no. It's okay. It'll all be fine. Okay, and then on to the second one. You'll find the next one's going to be a lot easier. So you can see our 2 chains are now in the back. Pull up a loop. Okay, and now we're going to go right there in front, do the same thing. Okay, so if you turn it over and look at it, you can see how our chains are starting to show here. Okay, so continue with the half double crochet till you have a total of 12, which means 2 per stitch, and I'll meet you there. So on the side where the chains are at, go ahead and take your tail and push it through the circle, so that way it'll be on the back side. All right, so now we're going to move on to the front post double crochets. So be sure to count, and I'm going to tell you a little secret that I found out about doing these front posts. When you have your 2 chains right here, bring your yarn on top or on the front side towards you when you make your loop. You'll notice that it won't stay on the chain, and that way you can make your chains stick out better on the other side. So here I have 1 set done. Continue around where you have 2 per stitch till you have a total of 16. Now be sure to count, and I'll meet you at the end. So now we have our front or back side, whichever one you're going to place it. We need to weave in our ends here, and then we'll get started on the body of the bag. So you notice here that I have the chains facing down. So let's place a small tail with a slip knot on to our hook. And at the lowest point right here, we're going to do a back post or a front post here. slip stitch. And then tighten your chain. Okay, and then chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and then we're gonna, since I'm right-handed, I'm gonna place this over here. Don't twist your chain, and then flip this over so that the wrong side is facing you again, and in the same last stitch that we did on this first one here, we're going to do another front post slip stitch. Okay, and then we're going to turn our work. So you should have the tall parts on the same place. So your chain is facing outward here, and your chain is facing outward over here. Okay? Now this end chain right here is our slip stitch chain. So we're going to skip that. In our first chain, we're going to place a single crochet. Our next, a single crochet. And we're going to keep moving on down. This one gets a half double crochet, a half double crochet. The next one gets a double crochet. Okay. The next one gets 3 double crochet in the same stitch. This will be part of our increase. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to reverse on the way back. 1 double crochet, half double crochet. You'll notice that I like to pick up 2 parts of my chain here. Okay, and our last 2 chains are going to be single crochet. I was picking up 2 parts of that chain there. Okay, so let me show you what we have here for our first row. See how we have our little indent right there? Okay. Now, to move on to our circle here, we're going to do a back post slip stitch. Now, right here, so this stitch was the last one we did. So now we're going to go to this one, and under those chains, we only want to pick up the thread part, not the post. Pull the loop through and through the loop on your hook. Okay? And then turn our work. There is no chain ones in this. We're just doing a slip stitch and going right straight into the next thing to do. Now this one right here, this first chain right here, will always be our slip stitch. So we want to skip that. Okay? And so this row will be all single front post single crochets. So there should be 13 of them. Okay? Keep your yarn in front of you here. So we're going to go in between that slip stitch so that we only pick up just that little bit there. Okay? And there's 1, 2. Remember I told you about the secret. keep the yarn on facing you on the side of the chains. 3. Okay, so continue across, keep counting until you have 13, and I'll meet you there. So at the end of the 13 single crochets, we want to go into the next stitch on our circle, and we're going to do a front post slip stitch. All right, and then turn our work. Okay, see how we have that nice little chain there? Now this first chain right here is our slip stitch, so we're going to skip that. Luckily for us, it was in a different color. So in the next 2 stitches, 1 single crochet per stitch, half double crochet 2 times, 1, and in the next one, 1, double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Here's 1 and 2. Now in our next stitch, you'll notice it's above our 3 from the previous row. We're going to place 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to repeat what we just did. Double crochet in the next 2 stitches, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. All right, so on this one we're going to do a back post slip stitch. So we're going to come in between those 2, come through, finish it off, and then turn our work. And you see how nicely it's going to be adhering and still showing that chain stitch as we go around. Okay, so this row we're going to be going the front post single crochets across. So using part of that first chain, we're going to go under and come up, and see how we have just that one part. We don't want the post, we want just that little part right there, and then finish off your single crochet. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet across. Let's see, what does my note say? Sorry about that. We should have 15 single crochet, front post single crochets across. So go ahead and do that across. I'll meet you at the end of the row, and we can admire our chain stitches together. And the same as before, to finish off our row, we're going to do a front post slip stitch here, and then turn our work. Ooh, look at them chains. I'm getting excited already. Okay, so skip that first one there and single crochet in the next 2 stitches, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. You're going to see a sequence in our patterning here. The beginning of the rows will have 2 single crochet, 2 half double crochet. The difference will be the adding of the double crochets to give that fullness of the shape of the shell. Okay, so now we're going to do 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, so 1 each. This is 2, and here's number 3. In our next stitch, because it will be right here above our 3. We'll place 3 double crochet. Look, I changed colors. I love the colors here. All right. Now 3 single double crochets, next 3 stitches there, and then 2 half double crochets and 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2, and then single crochet, 1 and 2. Oops, I did that one a little too tight, didn't I? Okay, so to finish this row off, we're going to come in from the bottom, go over, and complete our slip stitch, and then turn our work. Okay, and you see how it's starting to take effect already with the nice look of the chains here. So I don't know if you've been keeping count of the rows, but the next one will be row 6, and this will be our front post single crochets, and we will have 17 of them. Now you're going to find that everything we're doing here is going to be doing the increase on the single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet row, and then the one row will just be the front post single crochets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on here on the screen what it is we need to do for the next 8 rows. Okay, and that'll make it so that I am not repetitious to you, and you will know already what to do. Just remember to slip stitch either front post or back post onto your circle, no chains, okay? And then I will show you what to do next. So let me face this so that I can write on the screen up here what you will do for the next few rows, and then I will meet you when we start row 15. Well, after we completed row 14, you'll notice that it's starting to curl a little bit. Kind of looks like our friend from Disneyland here. We are almost halfway. So let's start with row 15, and I want to make a note that row 15 and row 16 will be a repeat row for 14 rows. I know it sounds like a confusing amount of numbers, but we'll get through this just fine. So for row 15, we're going to start off with our 2, whoops, I've turned it the wrong way. We're going to start off with our 2 single crochets. There's 1 and 2, and 2 half double crochets, 17 double crochets. So I'm not going to bore you with all of them, but we will do 17. I got 2 done. You go ahead and finish your 17, and then 2 half doubles and 2 singles, and slip stitch into this, and I'll meet you there. That row went pretty quick, didn't it? Now we're going to do 25 front post single crochets on this row. There's 1, 2, continue across till you have 25 and slip stitch into your circle. Alright, so you can see we're starting to take our curve now already. So these 2 rows that we just did, the 2 single crochets, 2 half double crochets, 17 double crochets, 2 half doubles, 2 singles, and then the slip stitch, and then the 25 front post single crochets, slip stitch. We're going to do those 2 combinations for a total of 14 rows. So when you stop, you should be up in this area here, so you should only have about 7 rows or 7 stitches left here. Okay, so continue on with that. Take note though that it will start to curl more and more as you go around. It's not going to be difficult to flip it and turn it and do whatever you need to do. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you in a few minutes. Of course, I will leave the instruction up here. Whoops, let me lower my finger right there. I'll leave the instruction right there for you. And then I will show you how to finish the last few rows. So after completing the 14 sets that we needed, we actually have completed 44 rows from the beginning. And mine measures, I laid it down flat, almost 11 inches. So let's begin row 45. We're going to start off with 2 single crochets, 2 half doubles, 8 double crochet, continue till you get to 8. And in the next one, we're going to do 3 double crochets. Now these rows are going to start increasing so that the top of the shell will start to look like it has an opening for a sea creature that's going to go in. And in this case, our personal items that we want to carry in our handbag. So let's do 8 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, 2 single crochets, slip stitch, and then we'll start row 46. For row 46, we're going to do our front post single crochet, and we're going to place in 27 across the row. At the end of the row, we're going to slip the front post slip stitch and turn our work. So for row 47, start off with 2 single crochets, 2 half double crochets, okay, 9 double crochets, 3 double crochets in the next stitch, 9 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, and 2 single crochets and slip stitch. Sounds like a mouthful. We're only increasing it. 9, 3, 9. I'll see you at the end of the row. You can see we're coming close to our end. Okay, so for row 48, front post single crochet, 29 across, slip stitch into our circle on the other side. Row 49, we're going to do another increase on this row, so 2 single crochets, 2 half double crochets, 10 double crochets, 3 double crochets in one stitch, 10, 2 half double crochets, 2 singles, and slip stitch into our circle. See you then. For row 50, we're going to do 31 front post single crochets. I'll see you at the end of the row. Don't forget to slip stitch into your circle. For row 51, we're going to start off with 2 single crochets, 2 half double crochets, then we're going to go across with 23 double crochets, then do 2 half double crochets, 2 single crochets, and then slip stitch. We have like 2 rows left to do. How exciting! See you at the end of the row. Row 52. This row will be the front post single crochets. We will place 31 on this row. Be sure to slip stitch into the circle, and I'll see you there. So you ready to do row 53? This is our last work row before we do our final chain stitching and then add our straps. So we're going to start off with 2 single crochet, two half double crochet, 11 double crochet, and I will meet you there. For the next stitch, we're going to do a treble. So to do a treble, yarn over twice, and we're going to place 3 into this particular space as well. So yarn over twice, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Let's do it 2 more times. This will cause the top of it just to flare out just a tiny bit. Then we're going to go ahead and do 11 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, and 2 singles, and then you'll go ahead and slip stitch into the circle, which should be onto that last double crochet. And I'll meet you there, and I'll show you how to finish with our chain stitch that we're going to add as a decorative on the edging. So now we are going to take this here, we're going to come all the way down here. We have our first single crochet, our second single crochet, our first half double crochet, and our second one, and we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that. And then snug it up just a little bit. Okay, now what we're going to do is what they do for a lot of this overlay crochet. We're going to make a chain stitch look on top of our stitches. So to do that, we're going to go down to the next over that half double crochet. I'm going to pick up the yarn, bring it up, and then bring it through the loop on our hook. Now you have to make sure that the loop on your hook is a little loose. You don't want it tight. And then you move over that next stitch and bring up the yarn from behind. And you can see how we have like a little decorative chain stitch here. So let's keep right on going. Now we're at the 3 double crochets. You still want to go ahead and do that over them. And if you keep that chain loop on your hook loose, you can just move right along like I am. So when we get to the end here, okay, we are at our second. So we're going to go ahead and come across, do our double crochet, and then, okay, I'm going to go under this chain stitch, and then I'm going to go over all of the stitching. Whoops, I did the wrong one, didn't I? Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. Just pull it up from behind. I think you have the idea now, since I got you onto this side. Go all the way around to this side, and I'll show you how to finish it. So we're at our last stitch down here. Go ahead and have about 8 inches of yarn. Let's go ahead and cut that and bring it through. Thread our needle. And since mine just happens to be the same color as that last part, I'm going to go ahead and go over. And then I'm going to go right back down into that same stitch. And then on the back side, I'm going to finish my ends off and weave them in. Let's add our straps. Now before we move on, I want to show you how big my opening is. And so you're going to see what I use. I love this. My cell phone will fit in there nicely. Can you see that? Okay. So we have no problem trying to fit our phone and a few other personal items that we would like into our bag. So let's add our strap, and then we'll call it done. So if you take your bag and you lay it flat, the two places that you're going to hang it from is not at the center. You want to go up a few rows, and you're going to attach it where it's folded at these two places, and you attach your straps there. You'll see here I have a braided strap that I'm planning on using, and give it a little charm. So here I'd like to show you my finished seashell bag. It has a nice big opening. It's got my strap on it, and I'm ready to go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope your bag turns out beautiful. One of the secrets that I've learned, that if you're using variegated yarn, you need to have something with probably a long, not real long color part. That's what helped give the nice look of this bag. I have one more thing to show you before you go. Here you can see I made a smaller bag. This was my demo. It only measures about 8 inches across. It'll be perfect for on the table. This one was made with 4-ply worsted weight yarn, size 4, and a size 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. It turned out really nice. The amount of stitches is exactly the same as the bag. The difference was the hook size. So come join me again. Subscribe to my channel if you would like, and place notifications by clicking on the bell. I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.